To go from 20K cash to $13 an hour as a personal trainer in a gym was humbling, to say the least.
Yeah. What are you going to do different this time to keep yourself from falling back down in that pit?
Well, that's a loaded question. What happened was I lost sight of my...
Awesome, guys. Welcome to another podcast. This podcast is so exciting for me, and hopefully this is exciting podcast for you.
It really is.
So, I mean, dude, let's just start out first by talking about, like, how did we even get connected?
Okay. All right. So how did we get connected? I was a personal trainer. I had an idea. I know I had results already. I knew I needed to get my name out there. I didn't know how. And organic was not it. I was taught organic, obviously. I didn't really master content, but I knew I could help people. And I didn't know exactly who to help or how to get my name out there. So I saw an ad for trainers that would teach trainers how to use ads.
Nice.
To get that reach. And I said, this is my answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you were in a couple of coaching programs before you found my coaching programs, and you learned a lot from these programs, essentially. Like, you learned how to build an offer, you learned a little bit about high ticket sales, and you were already a good coach. I guess your biggest struggle was that you didn't have the reach to be able to get in front of the amount of people that you needed to get in front of on the online space to actually have sustainable income and just really help more people.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. I had started a program in July, and they taught me organic. They got me through the door. I took a little bit out of each program. They really got me through the door. It was that first investment, the one that we're scared of, that, this might be a scam.
Yeah.
There's always those. It's that first difficult one.
Yeah.
But after that one, I invested into another one that got me really with that no giving up mindset. And then I had all this. I was like, okay, I'm never going to quit, and I can help people. I helped a handful of people. I got transformations for some family members and whatnot.
Nice.
And I was like, well, if I keep doing organic, one client a month, one client every 2 months, I'm not going to get out of this anytime soon.
Yeah, you're not going to get out of the 9 to 5, or
right. I'm not going to get out of the rat race. To be honest, the struggle. It was pretty difficult, because I also, in building that up, I never really had, my value in the marketplace was low, even though with my military career, with my experience, with working hard ever since I was younger, I could not translate that to the marketplace in any kind of job. And in fitness, I knew I had something when you transform lives. I just had no way to get it out there, because also content was challenging, to be honest, and slow.
Sure.
So,
yeah. So walk the viewers through, where you were at before you found me and my program, and then what happened shortly after you joined and learned how to run ads and get yourself in front of people. Because this is a pretty amazing story. I mean, there's not too many coaches that can say that, they've made $47,000 in sales as an online fitness coach in 1 month.
Right.
So yeah, tell us, I guess how that came about and like what that was like for you.
Yeah. Okay. So how it was for me, where I was first is like I said before, I had a few clients. I had a few people, very low ticket people that I knew, but nothing significant, nothing that would really change my life, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to change my reality. When I got out of the military, it was two reasons. It was two things I wanted to do when I was in the military. It was two decisions. I'm either going to do what I want in the military, like my job, whatever MOS it is, which at the time was Special Force Assessment and Selection, which I trained for, but that didn't pan out. That's a whole nother story. Or option two is I'm going to get out and I'm going to make money. I'm going to change my reality. I'm going to take control of my life, pretty much. And when I got out, that's what I intended on doing. And I looked at my hands. I was like, what do I have here? I have fitness. I've been working out since I was 16, right? And then I get to fitness and I'm like, there must be a better way to do this.
Yeah.
There's got to be a better, more, I don't know, a faster way to do this.
Sure.
But obviously not cutting corners because I still got those transformations of those people for the first 3 months.
Right.
And I stumbled on that ad with Connor.
Sure.
Stumbled on the ad with Connor and got on a call with Connor and bet on myself. I just bet on it. I had 5. It's funny. No, when I first met him, I had nothing. He gave me tips, got me to sell my first high ticket, which still right now is pretty low ticket.
Sure.
I think it was 3 months. It was like $1,000 for 3 months.
Yeah, because I think I remember when you first came in, you were selling at like 1,200, 1,500, and we were like, dude, bump that up. Like,
no. It was lower than that.
Okay.
I was selling at like freaking 200 a month.
Okay. And see, that's a common thing with a lot of trainers that I talk to. You know, I talk to thousands of trainers, and I always ask this question, you know, when I say, what do you want to charge for your offer? And they're like 100 a month or 200 a month. And I say, let me ask you something. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, are you charging what it's worth or what you think people will pay?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that one question, they're like, yeah, I guess you're right. I'm charging what I think people will pay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. My very first client was a Marine who he served with me. I charged him $80 per month. And he only made it 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the hard part about that is, and I'm sure you see it now, is when people pay, they pay attention.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is when they don't have any skin in the game, they typically don't do what they need to do as far as what their trainer instructs them to do. Because they're like, well, I'm only paying $80 for this, you know. But when they commit to a 3-4 month or more transformation and they pay what it's worth, they show up not only for the trainer, but for their self, and they get results. I talk about this all the time. They get results. It's a reflection of you and your coaching. They're happy. You actually get paid what you're worth for the time that you put in. You get the testimonials, the reviews, the social proof. Your business gets to grow and they get to grow as an individual personally. So it's a win-win. And that's the type of situations we want to be in life, period. Hands down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because it's funny, because shifting obviously from a consumer to a producer, you want to, because I had the heart to help veterans and active duty military members. So I started taking in all of them. I think I just jumped a bunch of steps. So I got on with Connor. He gave me he helped me close a sale or two.
Sure.
And I was able to invest into the program.
Gotcha.
As soon as I invest into the program got all the tools needed to run the ads, do what I had to do to fix my funnel, do everything. And I was just, I pretty much went all in to where...
You're on a Hail Mary at this point.
I did, because I quit my job that wasn't really making me any money. I was doing sales at the time, and commission-based.
Yeah.
So making $170 a week. So I was like, no, if they're telling me that I can run ads, start getting people on the phone in 7 days or less, or 2 weeks or whatever, I was like, I'm doing this now.
Yeah.
So I did that. I built out the funnels. I got another couple, which was a sale, and then I started putting money on ads. And
what I'm curious, because this was a year ago, so I don't really remember. Like, what did you start with budget wise, like per day when you came into ads the first time around with us?
Per day, it was about $10 an ad.
Okay.
And I think I had 4 different ads.
At $10 a day. So about $40 a day is where you started at?
Yes. Yes. And it took a few days to get some calls. But that month already changed my life. It wasn't even April or May that we're talking about.
And this was March.
March.
Yep.
Yeah. And because of, obviously I had other things to pay, but that month I made about $6,000, which for me was ridiculous.
Sure.
It was ridiculous.
And I think it was more towards the end of the month, right? So like you started I want to say halfway. I think I remember this correctly.
The very beginning of April, the first 2 days, I made what I was making for a month doing 9 to 5 jobs.
Okay. Wow.
The first 2 days,
Wow.
I did 2 sales that were around 1,500 each, 1,700, 1,750.
Yeah.
And it came out to 3,000 something.
Sure.
And I got emotional. I even recorded a video. I was like, I just made in 2 days what I've been making for months.
Dude, how did that feel to know that you just bought back, 150 something hours of your life that month? And before you answer that, the reason why I say that is because I literally have this talk with my girl, with my son, almost every potential student prospect that I speak to. It's like, when you have value to offer to the world, okay, and you know how to create an offer around that value that you provide. Once you learn high ticket sales and you become very good at it, you literally become unemployable.
Mm-hmm.
And once you see that, you can't never unsee it.
Yeah.
Right. And so it seems like that's the moment for you where you were like, holy shit, I just made $6,000 in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was your thought process next there? Like,
to be honest with you, I felt powerful and I felt like I was exactly where I should be.
Wow.
Because I knew the value.
Like, when you say exactly where you should be, do you mean like living with purpose, living like what do you exactly mean by that?
Where I should be as far as value, as far as the value that I could provide people.
Okay.
Like, I finally found it. I felt powerful because I took control of my life. Took control of my freedom.
You bet on yourself. You went all in. You invested in yourself.
Yeah.
You got rid of is this going to be a scam? Am I getting hustled? Mm-hmm. Is this a Ponzi scheme type of mindset?
Yeah.
You took action and you got results. And I feel like that moment things came together for you. Like, oh shit, this is real. I need to pinch myself.
Absolutely. That was absolutely what it was.
That's amazing.
Recorded a video talking about how I just made in 2 days what I've been making per month the past few months, working as a maintenance tech, a pool maintenance tech at the Hard Rock, a operations manager during graveyard shift hours, which means I just walked around a building in Boca full of expensive condos and only making $15 to $14 an hour.
Dude.
Then I made that in 2 days.
Like, this lights me up so much. I literally have chills in my body right now because this reminds me of why I need to keep doing what I'm doing. And what I mean by that is, like, I'm actually changing people's lives. I'm actually helping people come out of what we've been conditioned to do, come out of that traditional route and go online and add real world value while getting paid more than we've ever been conditioned to. And it's just like, we never had this opportunity because we're at a point with social media, with AI, there's just opportunities that weren't presented to our parents.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And so to be on the forefront of that and to be able to see this in multiple, students that I've helped, why would I stop? You know what I mean? Like, absolutely. And it's like, dude, it's so amazing. So essentially what happened was you made that $6,000, right?
Yeah.
And then
3.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the next month, May, this is when.
So this was the beginning of April.
Okay.
Where April I hit 47 in revenue.
Oh, it was April. It wasn't May.
Yeah.
Okay. See,
but May was kind of the same. May was $20,000 in revenue as well, in cash as well. Revenue was less, but they were both in cash. They were similar. But yeah, April is when I made more money than I ever made.
Okay, so it was April. I thought it was May because this was a year ago. So, but check it out. So, I remember this specifically because I was like, holy shit. This dude, literally, I was looking at your KPI tracking sheet. For those of you guys that don't know, a KPI tracking sheet is a key performance indicator sheet that allows us to look at the data and the numbers so we can make decisions off data versus emotions. And it really helps us know exactly what moves we need to make in the business in order to really grow it and scale it, right?
Exactly.
This is the secret sauce to running ads a lot of people don't talk about. But when I looked at your KPI tracking sheet, you went from spending like $50 a day at the beginning of the month to spending $100 a day, $150 a day, $200 a day, $250, $300, $350, $400, 450. And I was blown away because even when I was full on in my health and fitness coaching business, which, you know, I'd taken that business, my own personal training business, online training business, to $250,000 in revenue in a year.
Yeah.
I had never scaled my ads that fast in 1 month. So I was like, this dude is on another level right now. Right. And then, you know, you ended up at 47,000 in revenue for the month, contracted. Right. Yep. And then 21,000 cash collected. Right.
Yes, absolutely. That happened because you and Connor's definition of scale that was at a different level than what I thought. Scale it, okay. I just jam money up.
Pumping money back in every sale. Let's put more money back in.
Yeah. It's definitely a learning experience for sure.
And I think one of the biggest things you learn just from obviously, you know, being there through this is you scaled your ads real quick and you weren't really paying attention to like your cost per message and some of the other important numbers that we look at on this KPI tracker.
Yeah.
So, you know, before you knew it, you were spending 10,000 on ads. And then when the ads started dying out or slowing down, you weren't really prepared to create new ads. Yeah. And it kind of was like, boop, like hit this peak and then like a slow crash burn down.
Pretty much.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm interested to know, like, what did you learn from that, man? Like, what is the biggest takeaways that you learned from scaling to 47K in a month and then crashing and burning?
It's a damn good question, man.
That's why I'm asking it.
We're talking about being unemployable, brother. To go from 37 or 47K or 20K cash to $13 an hour as a personal trainer in a gym was humbling, to say the least.
Yeah.
And it really taught me to value the process and value each aspect of learning your craft and mastering it.
Wow.
Because what happened was, after my ads burned up, I kept on trying to replicate the winning ad. But I wasn't replicating it in a strategic way. I wasn't really taking the important points and replicating it. I was replicating it I was pretty much throwing stuff against the wall, hoping it stuck.
Gotcha. You had no real strategy in place.
Exactly.
And also too, you know, when you were doing this, you were still spending just as much, right? So you didn't really like scale down the ads. Yeah. You were like, I need to spend this much now that I'm here.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I didn't dial back on it. I figured I'd just throw money at it to make sure it would test out faster. But that just burned through my money even faster. It was truly humbling because, and it also, this experience helped me appreciate the capability of the ads, about what I can make, what I can do, help me refine my sales process. It helped me refine how to capture the attention and the hearts of my avatar.
Sure.
The ideal avatar. And it's definitely taught me a lot about constantly learning, because I got into a bit of a lazy kind of phase where I didn't want to learn. I just wanted to test out new ads. And that's where I burned up. Yeah. I had to constantly be learning.
So how many months, because I don't even know this information, how many months, and you know, once you hit that 47K month, right? How many months did you go later until you finally decided, like, I have to shut these ads off?
I think it was July. I think it was August I stopped ads. August and September I got a personal trainer job.
So about 4 months after you had hit that.
Yeah, I still got revenue from April. Recurring payments to keep me afloat.
Yeah. And so you got you basically, you know, you went from hell to heaven.
Yeah.
And then you kind of went back to hell. This is the hero journey, right?
Flew too close to the sun.
And then basically what happened then is you went back to this personal training job and you're like, this is crazy. After making $47,000 in 1 month, now I'm back working for $13 an hour.
Sorry, not back. That was the first time I did personal training in person.
Okay, so that was the first time you had done in person. Okay.
Yeah.
But you went back to making like an hourly rate.
Pretty much, exact same, yeah.
Yeah, so tell us about that. So from September to, you know, December, right, to end the year out? Like, what did that look like? You were just working jobs, and did you have a plan or a goal to try to get back online? Like, what did that next, 4 or 5 months look like to end the year?
Yeah. So
2024.
That road back to 9 to 5 as a personal trainer, I was not going to give up. That wasn't my vocabulary. After going through I went through in the Marines with my pops, with the establishing my mindset earlier that year. I was not going to quit. I was just trying to find a way to actually stack more money to get back into ads. But to build up your clientele in personal training, like it's actually pretty difficult. And
are you talking about in-person?
In-person personal training. Yeah. In-person personal training is pretty difficult, especially when the gym expects you to do heavy lifting in sales and calling the people, but they're still paying you just for the training. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, and that's the thing though, it's crazy. So while we're here on this topic, people will sit there and do sales and calls and cold messaging and cold calls for another company and another business. But when it comes time to doing it for themselves, they freeze up, they buckle up, they say, this is hard. Yeah. Let me just go get a job.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's about that phrase about Justin Waller. They're afraid of having the ball. And in their case, having the ball is them being the product.
Ooh.
If they're selling for another product, it's like, oh, if it doesn't work, it's on the gym.
Ooh.
It's about them being able to, I guess what it comes down to is them not trusting themselves enough that they can offer value.
Gotcha.
So that's why they don't do it for themselves,
and so
for somebody else.
They need to look at themselves in the mirror and say, why do I not feel capable of doing this?
Yeah.
Why do I have this fear of failure, or maybe this imposter syndrome? Like that's something internal within them that's holding them back, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I see that a lot actually with my business and my company now, Virtual Income School. I take a lot of calls with good quality prospects, leads, and these calls, they're not just sales calls. They're very strategic as far as like understanding if the person, knows they have a problem. Do they have a desire to fix and solve the problem? How serious are they about solving and fixing the problem, right? And, what exactly do they need? And why haven't they solved it yet? And, what is their plan to solve this if they really want to solve it? And so it's really just understanding the person and seeing if I can genuinely and authentically help them.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I know I could help them with what I offer, then I'm going to present that to them and I'm going to make them an offer. And I have so many calls with great people who are just, I know they can be rock stars just like you and do $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 in a month. Yeah. I know. But they're so scared to bet on themselves.
Yeah.
They're so scared to make that investment, that jump, that leap.
Yeah.
Whether it's imposter syndrome, maybe trust. They don't trust me because they just met me through an ad on the internet. And, a lot of people think it's a scam or a Ponzi scheme. And I mean,
yeah, definitely scam me into $30,000 months. Damn.
This is proof right here, obviously, that, this is the real deal. Yeah. Like, this is what's happening. This is what's possible. And it's crazy because there's so many people out there that are closed-minded. They're small-minded. They're continuing to play small.
Yeah.
And they're not going in for whatever reason. And the longer they wait, the longer they take to actually go in and bet on themselves, the further they are away from their goals and the further they are away from being the help that somebody out there needs.
Exactly.
And I deal with that a lot.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's what we're talking about. We've been preconditioned to only value college, and we don't realize that skills is what actually creates value.
The education that we've been sold on, it's like this system, and there's this curriculum that, has been put together that is like, this is the book. Literally, we have textbooks, right? In school. And now with AI and, everything that's going on, we live in the age of information, but here's the thing. Information is now abundant. It's not scarce.
Exactly.
So if information is not scarce and everybody has everything they need to do what they want to do, what's holding people back? And I'm curious, like, what do you think is, if we have the information
in
our phone, go to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
for anything that we want to do, what do you think is still holding people back?
You know what it is? It's that exactly. But on the other side, because there's so much information, there's information negating
overload.
Yeah, information overload, and this information is contradicting this one. This was contradicting that one. So the overload of information, I don't know who said it or what the phrase was, but it's like more knowledge makes you more closed-minded, I think. I don't know. Somebody said it along those lines, and it makes sense because I get constant people come into my DMs and I ask them what they've been trying, what they've been doing. Most of them say they don't have a good plan. Why? Because the internet is so saturated with information. And they pick one that might work, stick with it for 3 to 4 weeks, and it doesn't work out, or they don't stick with it long enough.
Sure.
They change. That's why you get these people to say, I've tried everything. Because they only tried it for 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And
they give up too easy.
Absolutely. And the overload of information creates, you would think that it would give you certainty, but if anything, it creates a different version of uncertainty.
Wow.
Because you don't know what to believe.
That's huge. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's like information overload. Like there's so much information out there between YouTube and Google and ChatGPT. It's like, which information do I follow? And this is a question that I ask everybody when I have a demo discovery call with them. And I say, hey, you seem like a very smart and driven person. Yeah. Why not just figure this out on your own? Right? Yeah. And typically what people tell me is, well, I probably could, but why would I not want to like streamline the process and also not have to make the same mistakes that you've already made? That's what the smart people say. They get the value of having someone, the accountability, the education, the coaching. Yeah. And then there's some people that are like, well, yeah, I probably could figure it out on my own. Then it's like, okay, well, why haven't you yet then?
Right.
Right. And they're just like, oh.
Loading.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So,
yeah, I get those too. Sometimes they'll just go back and try. All right, do you want to go and try again? Because they'll get on the DMs and they'll tell me what they know, what they think. I'm like, well, and you can kind of tell in their tone when they actually want some help or they're there to check their theory and go back to the drawing board. So usually when they need help, I walk them through it. If they go back to the drawing board, you can't really help them because they still got that like, I think I can do this on my own. And then they'll try it.
And to be fair, some of these people, they probably will figure it out at some point.
Yeah.
But it's going to take them a hell of a lot longer. It's going to cost them a lot more time, money, stress.
Yeah.
Gray hairs.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So, okay. So I got it, man. Like, let me recap the story so far in a short version. You decided to invest in yourself, bet on yourself. You knew you were meant for more. You were ready to step into this higher version of yourself. You invest in a couple programs. They taught you organic. You knew that you needed more exposure. You found us, me and Connor, in Elite Health, and you came in. We got you some wins. You came in and then you started running ads. You had this big crazy month. You had a couple of them, and then it was just like a crash and burn. You had to go back to regular employment. And the whole time you were thinking, how can I save up more money to get back to ads? Because you already saw what was possible. And so that kind of like brought you into the end of the year, 2024. Now, 2025, we're in 2025 now.
Yeah.
Like, tell me, like, how did your journey look from January up until now, which it's May, it's the end of May, it's May 31st, 2025. Yeah. And you actually have beat your current record last year, your cash collected goal. You're almost at 30,000 cash collected this year, which last year it was about 21.
Yeah.
Dude, tell me about that journey from January up until now.
Yeah. Well, I feel like everybody comes to a breaking point where they have to move. I tried applying for loans. I tried this, I tried that. I knew I had to get back on ads, but I was trying it in certain different ways. I was trying to get a loan. I was trying all these things. And I pretty much had it. I got to a point on a Sunday where I was like, I have to run ads. And I got the Facebook Meta allows you up to a limit of 500 or 900, whatever, couple $100 of ad money. It's like, I've made this work before. I can, with $400, I can probably get another winning ad. And I started running ads again. I started putting out ads again because I was fed up.
When was this?
This was in the middle of April.
Okay. So from January to April then, you were still working the jobs, the personal training and other whatever side jobs you could do to try to make ends meet.
Yeah, January to April, I was doing personal training. I went from EOS gym to LA Fitness, which is a little bit better. I was even trying remote insurance sales, which didn't pan out, obviously. But I pretty much started trying everything else besides I looked at my program, because to be completely honest with you, I got frustrated with the whole business because of the sales process.
Okay.
And also it was internal. I lost sight of why I was doing what I was doing.
Okay.
It became about the money. Not
Gotcha.
That was something huge.
That's a huge eye opener right there.
Yeah.
So you're saying because you were in such a desperate place, so you were working from this place of desperation versus abundance. Exactly. And I talk about this a lot. You were desperate to get out of this, minimum wage job. You knew what was possible. You wanted to get back on. So it became more about how do I get more money so I can go back full time. Yeah. But when you made it all about money and not about serving people, it just wasn't working for you.
Every sales call after, I got more and more frustrated, and I would take it personal. That just weighed down the business. It took about 3 weeks from posting. I shut down the Ready Evolve for a little bit. And
I remember that when I was like, actually, it's funny, dude, because you just never know who's watching you and like who you're inspiring and who you're motivating. Because people are looky-loos, bro. They'll watch you, but they won't comment. Like, you don't even know they're there. They're invisible, right? Yep. And it's funny because I remember I follow you and I saw your story one day saying, hey, I'm going to be off of social media for a little while. And I totally get that. Like, a lot of people need to take that break for mental health, for family, for whatever reasons. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, but I had a chick, and I forget her name and who it even is, but she reached out to me like, hey, what happened to your boy? And I'm like, who are you talking about? And she's like, your boy, Reddy or Matthew or whatever. And I was like, oh, Matthew, Ready Evolve.
Blonde chick?
I forget her name, dude. I forget who it was. I don't even know who it was. But
because she reached out to me about Elite Trainers University because of my ad.
Okay.
The ad you guys put out about me, the testimonial. So I figured it was her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, she was like, what happened to this dude? And I was like, that's crazy that like she reached out to me because she was following you. And it really just was like, wow, this is a sign right here. Like, so anyway, just to kind of bring it back, right? Like you came off Instagram for a little bit and like,
I had to go back to the drawing board of why. And the why is to be that beacon of success for my family and to help others to be the best version of me and show others how to do the same. And my way of doing it is fitness. My people are military. Simple. I had to go back and...
So you had to revisit your why and you realized that the mission was bigger than the money.
Exactly.
Wow, dude, that right there is powerful. And I say this all the time. I've literally had this same conversation in the last several months with so many different people. I tell people the reason why I can't lose, one is because God got me. Number one. But number two is because my mission is bigger than the money. And because I care more about the mission and truly helping people, and I don't look at my students and people like just another number, the money's never going to stop coming.
Yeah.
And that's a huge, huge awakening / eye opener, So it's crazy that here we are on two different sides of the United States and, we're both kind of getting the same message, and I think that there's not, no coincidence there, I think it's just part of the journey, man.
Absolutely.
And, okay. So this is cool, man. This is exciting, man. Like, I love this. So So essentially you kind of came to this like realization, and this is the exciting part, man. Like, how did you, okay, obviously you came back on social media.
Yeah.
And then what, dude? Like, what happened? Like, in between April and now here, the end of May, like, what allowed you to get back up to where you were before and even higher?
So what I did is there was a coach who reached out to me. His name is Chase. His method is very organic and very very internal, because everything flows from us, from inside of us. Our relationships, our bodies, our minds, our businesses are a reflection of us.
Sure.
Whatever's going on is in here and in here. And he helped me resolve a lot of things.
Wow.
He helped me.
So some deep internal work.
Exactly.
Love
he
that.
walked me through that. Like, he guided me through it. And then I was able to close one of my biggest sales, biggest clients ever. It was a year program. And it actually helped me.
How much was that for?
It was $5,250.
Wow. So a $5,000, $5,200 year-long program.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And people still are out there thinking that this is it's a scam, you know,
Right.
like this isn't possible.
Yeah.
So that one sale, let's just say you had a job making $5,000 a month. That sale took you an hour to close.
Yeah.
Of course, there's the coaching and fulfillment on that, right?
Yeah.
But you literally just bought back, if you're working a 40-hour-a-week job, 159 hours of your life in that sale.
Imagine all the other things we can do with that time.
Insane, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got this sale.
Got that sale, lit a fire under my ass.
Okay.
And I just kept on moving after that. After that, I started, I guess I kept on trying organic, because it was the only thing at the time.
You pay for organic with your time, and you had time.
Right.
And you didn't really have the money, so you were like doing what you could with what you had.
Right. And I thought organic was the way to go. And I'll be honest with you, I kept on going with it. It did not transfer over into any new sales. And I took your advice. I'm like, bro, you got to get on ads. Ads is where you
organic is tough, dude.
It is.
And I'm going to say this to everyone out there that's listening and watching this podcast. You know, organic content has to be done. Organic content, organic outreach. It has to be done, especially when you're just starting out.
Yeah.
Because there's people out there that already like you, know you, trust you, and you have to know how to have conversations with those people and get them on a call to where then you can become good at understanding the sales process to actually enroll people into your program. And until you have that dialed in, it doesn't make sense to go to ads, because you're just going to spend money. You're not going to get clients. Then you're going to burn through your money. You're going to be back at square one. You're going to think ads don't work.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. If ads didn't work, me and you wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation right now.
Exactly.
Right.
A lot of people's lives I was able to reach out and touch and help and change. Never would have met them without ads.
Without paid ads.
Without paid ads. Never would have met them. And it's so amazing to see the change in their lives now. How fitness, how something as shallow as, you know, the body fat on your body can change. I have one client, one of my favorite success stories, because he literally changed his life from losing 30 pounds. He changed his relationship. He went from having a relationship with somebody that was not really good for him, was weighing on him. He got a better relationship. I'm not going to say better person, better relationship. He got a better job from being a trash soldier in the reserves that was complaining about everything. He started getting in shape and started headhunting for all the training courses, training camps, training everything that the Army had to offer.
Wow.
He started school again. He just changed his entire life.
Wow.
And
you got to see that transformation and be a part of that transformation.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dude, I have tons of stories. We could sit here and talk just about transformation stories.
Yeah.
Same thing, dude. I experienced that. You know, one, I changed my own life first, right? It's calling number 2. There's 3 callings in the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay. I love to tell this right here. So the first calling is just to know God, right? The second calling is the calling to become the man or woman that God intended you to be, meaning, you know, taking care of yourself personally, physically, mentally, making sure you're a good person, the golden rule, right? Doing unto others as you wish them to do to you, treating people the way you want to be treated, right? That's called sanctification. Okay. And then there's the third calling, and this is the calling to serve. But the thing is, if you haven't completed the calling number 2, if you haven't truly mastered and developed into the person that God wants you to be, then you're going to have a tough time coming into the third calling. It might not be there yet. Maybe you want to be there. And actually our pastor Judd from Central Church out here in Vegas was talking about this last week. It's so crazy because I literally spoke this message on my story before we went to church. And then he was up there and I was like, this is a sign. He literally was talking about this. Like, you might not be ready. Yeah. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that it's not ever going to happen. Yeah. Right. But, being able to personally develop and change your life and then go and change other people's lives, dude, that's part of what we're here for.
Yeah.
That gives you purpose.
If that's the thing. We talk about making the money, being financially free, working from the internet, but that's one of the best things about this because your time is limited. Your time is the only resource you have that is limited. You will run out.
Time is the most valuable thing
on
the planet.
Exactly. And the time and effort that you spend, like your life force, you spending on doing something that is towards what you were made for versus trading it so you can pay bills, to buy food, to pay for rent, to keep yourself alive is freaking 0 to 100, night and day. I live and I can actually be fulfilled in what I am doing at the moment, in my purpose in helping others in my own way, helping my people, or I'm just trading it, maintaining a pool or walking the grounds
or building someone else's dream.
Building somebody else's dream.
That's the real deal right there.
Yeah.
So, okay. So let's take it back. So we talked about how you, coming into the new year, you were still working this job, trying to figure out a way. You finally managed to, you got with another coach that really helped you work on things internally and kind of change your mindset. You got burnt out and frustrated because you knew what was possible, but you were trying everything to get there and it just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And so you got with this coach that again, you invested in yourself. You bet on yourself again.
Yeah.
Even when you didn't have it.
Yeah.
And you were able to do this internal work that allowed you to understand what was going on. So then you were able to get this sale, this $5,200 sale, year-long sale. And then what happened next? Like, when did we reconnect? And like, how does that look as far as like getting us here to where we are, where you beat your best record?
I pretty much asked you and 2 other coaches, what should I be doing right now? And you suggested ads.
Okay.
And I realized after trying organic, after that sale, I kept on trying organic. That sale was around the beginning of March.
Gotcha.
Was it the beginning of March? Because it's the beginning of March, and then all of March went over, and then most of April went. And I realized that the same way that I've changed lives was through ads. I was only going to be able to reach the people that were listening to my message up to that point. They weren't willing to make the change.
Right. You know what I've found? I talk about this a lot. I try to tell people organic, content, organic DMs, cold outreach. Mm-hmm. It's like door-to-door sales. You're door knocking.
Yeah.
Out of every 100 people you talk to, a lot of people are going to slam the door in your face, say, get the fuck out of here. No soliciting. I don't want your service. And then you're going to have those few people that actually, open the door, conversate with you, but they're still not interested. And then you're going to have maybe a couple people that actually, pull the trigger, right?
Yeah.
And that's a really tough place to be. But with ads, people are knocking at your door.
Mm-hmm.
They're raising their hand saying, hey, I'm interested in what you have. And the conversations are completely different.
Yeah.
Because you're positioned as the expert, the authority.
Exactly.
And the trust is there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're able to actually say, hey, yeah, need this. Let me invest in myself, bet on myself, and actually get great results.
Right? Exactly. Organic, you're also spending your time and your effort, which, like we said, is limited. There's absolutely no point if you can actually reach people. There's people out there that actually need it. People that have access to you, they said yes, or if they were going to say yes, they would have said it by now.
Sure.
That's the mindset I had at the time. I was like, I need to get to ads, and there's people out there. And sure enough, when I got back to ads, there was plenty of military members right now in there. They don't know what to do nutritionally. They don't know what to do physically to get their scores better, to better their careers.
And this is a good point you're making right here, because I just put out a long message about this in the school community today, in our virtual income school community.
Mm-hmm.
In the United States alone, there's around 350 million people. Okay, give or take, right? Yeah. Probably more by now, to be honest. But
yeah,
that's a straight statistic. You can Google ChatGPT, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with online coaching, with high ticket coaching, that's why it's so important to have an avatar and an ideal client that you have in mind that you want to work with. Because when you try to talk to everybody, you end up talking to nobody. And the thing with coaching, high value coaching, high ticket coaching, is you don't need everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You just need the people who are out there that can actually benefit from what you have. And there's plenty of them out there. And there's no way to get to those people. You're not going to do it organically. You can't rely on the Facebook Meta, Instagram algorithm gods. And even when I do have clients and people I know that went viral, it doesn't really bring the best quality leads anyway,
Yeah.
So you can't rely on those methods. And it's like, how do you get yourself out there? Well, paid ads. And the thing is Mark Zuckerberg was just on his Instagram recently talking about this on a podcast that he did, where he's saying it's never been easier before to find the right type of people, the people that you are looking for. When you know who you're looking for, and it used to be where you had to have like an ad agency, and you have to have like these detailed targeting, and you had to know who you were targeting. But now over time they've automated everything, and AI is working in the background.
Yeah.
It's the machine learning.
Mm-hmm.
And if your creative is on point, if you call out who you want to work with, who you're looking to work with, and what you help them do, Meta will go and find those people and put them right in your lap. And I think that's exactly what you're seeing now, right? So you got back on ads, right? You started having some early success. But what happened like last month, you had almost 20 calls booked. Okay, I know you had some no-shows, cancellations, but you didn't close any of them.
Yeah.
Like, what was going on there?
Yeah. So my sales process, was really loose, because it was successful. It brought success last year, but I don't know why it wasn't bringing success this time. I think maybe I might have tweaked it enough times over and over to where I was kind of cutting corners. But then I got with you, and as soon as we had like 2 or 3 calls scheduled that day, you got with me. You said, bro, we got to nail this down. And in 30 minutes, with a better script, and you nailed down certain things that were off about my process, bro, it exploded. I started making new sales. I started closing left and right because of a simple 30-minute tune-up.
Dude, that lights me up, dude. Yeah, I remember. So you had these calls, but you weren't getting no sales. And I said, dude, this is absolutely your sales process. There's no way that you can have this many calls with no sales.
Yeah.
Let me review those. So we do the weekly call reviews in the community where I review student sales calls. They're so powerful. They're so powerful.
They are.
And people
specifically to who's receiving it, because I don't know what it is, but it's like you putting them on the stage or the table or whatever, and you're dissecting everything. It's like, it's embarrassing, but just because it's something you're getting good at, right? And it's not, you don't embarrass, you never like
I say my goal is to hurt your feelings. I say that jokingly,
right.
It's like
no, but it's a vulnerable spot. But in that vulnerability, it reminds me of something my drill instructor told me. He said, pain retains. That discomfort or pain of being in a hot seat and having people, hey, no, you don't say this in a sales call. And because like that pain, bro, it fixes you immediately. Like, I'm not making that mistake. I'm not making that mistake. And I'm not doing that again.
Well, growth, this is one of my favorite sayings, growth and comfort do not coincide. So in order to grow, you got to learn to embrace the uncomfortable moments, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're like. I was like, dude, let me review your calls. And you were like, absolutely, Anthony. And I reviewed them. I gave you some feedback.
Yeah.
And then what happened next, dude?
I started closing them like I was a pro, brother. Like
I
asked all the right questions to get them exactly to the close. Like I'm pretty sure the first 3 sales, I had 0 objection. After the sales call, how do you want to pay that? We'll pay it like this. Cool.
Visa, MasterCard, right?
Visa, MasterCard.
That's how you know that you've done a really good job on the sales call. I like to call mine a demo call. People call it a strategy call, discovery call,
Quality,
clarity call.
Call.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you could call it whatever you want, but at the end of the day, when you do a proper discovery, and it's not because it's simply for one thing. If you truly want to understand where this person's at, where they're trying to go, what's been holding them back from getting there, okay? And if you authentically know that you have what it takes to solve their problem with what you offer in your program, you would actually be doing them a disservice to let them walk off that call without taking some type of action. And that right there takes you not only stepping into the highest version of yourself, but being that true leader that you know you are.
Yeah.
Sales is just leadership.
Yeah.
And it's leading person to the best decision from them authentically from your heart. And so when you do a killer call, a discovery, and you have what it takes and you present that value, most people shouldn't have any objections. It's only going to be a few things. One, they simply can't afford it. And at that point, we can break down some type of payment plan, whether it's through Affirm financing or in-house payments. Or the other objection is spouse. But again, if you do a really great discovery and you realize they need their spouse on the call, we got to end that and say, let's get the spouse on before we even present the value, because the spouse is just going to hear the cost, the price, and not see the value. So it doesn't make sense to do that. If they go back and talk to their spouse, 9 out of 10 times, the spouse is going to be like, what the hell? No.
They said no.
Right. And then the other one really is just general hesitation because, well, either maybe they don't trust you enough because they just met you from the internet. That could be a big one. But there's ways to combat that, like building trust and authority through organic content, through your pre-call page, through retargeting ads, through emails. These are all ways that we combat that trust and authority issue. But one of the biggest ones I see is people are just scared to fucking bet on themselves. They're scared to make that initial investment. They probably never spent that much money on anything other than a car or a down payment on a house. Because I was once the same person. My first mentor charged me $8,000. And I said, holy fuck, are you kidding me? I said, dude, I'm going to pay another man to quote unquote coach me. This is ridiculous. I was like, well, I've never spent that on a car or down payment on a house. Right. And then at that moment, though, for me, it was during the pandemic, and I felt like I didn't have no other choice or no other option. Yeah. And so I said, fuck it. My pain point was deep. Like, I had to figure something out. I had to go all in. Yeah. And once I did that, to me, failure was not an option. Because the only way I'm getting hustled out of this money is if I don't fucking put in the work. Yeah. And me personally, like, if I go in and commit to something, I go. And, I was just saying this earlier, like, I talk to so many great people that have potential to do numbers that you're doing and more and change so many lives and help people. And they're just scared to bet on themselves. Yeah. They think they're not ready. You're never going to be ready. There's never a perfect time. There's just time in what you do with it. Exactly. And I think that's hard for a lot of people to comprehend. Maybe they're so used to that security of job security and that paycheck coming in and the insurance that comes with that. And they're like, I can't afford to do this. Yeah. But what's the cost of you never doing it?
Cost is wasting your life doing something you're not really supposed to be doing.
That's it.
It costs you your life.
It costs you your life. It costs you your freedom, your purpose, your passion. Yeah. I truly believe that we are here on this planet and we're meant for more.
Absolutely.
We're meant for more. Heaven and hell, in my opinion, it's right here. It's on earth. And you could either live in heaven or you could be living in hell. if you're living in hell, that's nobody's fault but your own. We all have choices.
Yeah.
And there's good and evil too. Let's not forget about good and evil. Okay?
Yeah.
And if you're good, then you want to be the change that you want to see. You want to see more good, right?
Absolutely.
If you're evil, we know there's plenty of evil people and villains, and you know, we see this in all the Disney movies and everything that we've been brought up and conditioned, right? And I think you got to decide which side you're on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and are you a good person? Do you have good intention? You know, do you have value to bring to the world? If you do, and you're not giving it,
yeah,
then you're just wasting your talents and you know.
Yeah. Definitely learned from Wes Watson one thing that he said, something that got me over the hump to share my message. He says, your problems aren't just yours. They were designed for you to go over and for you to help other people do the same thing. When you don't share your message, you're not being shy, you're being selfish. Because there's people in pain. There's people in pain right now that they could be overcoming this, but you're not there to help them because you're scared.
Yeah.
Or you're worried about what your angle is going to look like in the camera, or how your voice is going to sound, or you stuttering in front of a camera. It's all your ego. So basically your ego is keeping those people from advancing. Your ego stopping your purpose from being carried out because you're worried how you look in front of a camera.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
So let's bring this all together now, okay? We literally went through your entire journey for the past year. And dude, thank you so much for being here and sharing this, man. Like, this is going to help so many people. The people that do watch this and come across this.
Yeah.
Because you're living proof that this is possible. So to all those people that comment on my ads, Ponzi scheme, scam, no, you didn't. They, you know, when I tell my authentic story of how I went from, you know, 0 to 250K per year with my own online fitness business, they're like, no, you didn't. Scam. Yeah. You bought followers, right?
Nice
like,
try, Diddy.
Yeah. Nice try, Diddy. Yeah. It's like, this is living proof, dude, that it's possible. Like you're showing that that's possible, right? And I'm sure there's still going to be people out there like, it's a scam.
Yeah.
They know each other. They're in cahoots.
Yeah, of course.
But, you know, listen, I've never met anybody doing better than me that's hating on me, you know? So haters will be haters. And if you don't have haters, you're probably not doing enough.
Exactly.
So to put all this together, this is your calling. Mm-hmm. This is your purpose.
That's right.
You're meant for more.
Yeah.
And you've climbed, you've fallen, and you got right back up. And now here we are, May 31st, 2025. Mm-hmm. You just had your best month ever. You're back up.
Yeah.
So the question is, what are you going to do different this time to keep yourself from falling back down in that pit?
Well, that's a loaded question. Well, obviously everything that happens is always, what happened was I lost sight of my why. I'm always keeping that in the forefront now to remember that this is for my family, for the people that I serve, and for the world. Because ultimately that's what we're put here. You said, you're talking about if you're going to be a good person or a bad person. There's plenty of evil in the world. There needs to be good. And there won't be good if you don't put good out there. Well, what's the expression? The only thing that needs to happen for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. That's it. And for me, it's obviously maintaining the why and also keeping the eye on the needle and moving the needle on the practical. Because you can manifest all day, but if you're not putting time into learning the craft, applying, experimenting, trying, and then executing and replicating what works, you can manifest all day, do your cold plunges, wake up at 3:30 in the morning like I was doing. If you're not moving the needle on the business, it's not going to produce. Yeah. It's kind of something that I go back to as when it comes to the Bible. I was raised up in a church, and a lot of things are very mysticized, and a lot of things are taught to us that it's just, oh, pray, God will take care of it. But no, what I learned, this is something huge. What I learned from this journey is that God gave me everything I need to make this happen. God, give me this much money per month. God, give me a Porsche. Give me a Lambo. Give me security for my family, whatever the case is. And God is just watching. It's like, I gave you everything you need to get it done.
Wow.
What are you doing with it?
That's powerful.
Yeah, it's something that it's a hard lesson that I had to learn. That's why it got me to run the ads again.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, nobody's going to pull you out of this. Nobody's going to pull you out of this situation except for you. And what I would say to those people that think it's a scam, this is what I love to say. I've always, growing up, felt inadequate because I never had something special about me. I was never the fastest, strongest, smartest, best looking, tallest, could sing, whatever. I never had anything special about me. And that is my superpower.
Wow.
Because I was able to see that if people of less abilities than I can do it, then what am I wasting my time for? So if you're over there and you know that you're taller, you're stronger, you're smarter than me, you got hair, you could do all these things, and you think it's a scam, I am the example that somebody with less talent than you, less capabilities than you, is living a better life than you are because I took action and I didn't quit. That is literally what it takes. Take action and don't quit. Oh, it didn't work out. Find a way. Oh, there's an obstacle. Make a freaking bridge. Oh, I can't make a bridge. Then climb down and climb back up. There's always a way. If you don't quit, you'll find a way. If you quit, nothing changes.
I love that, man. Wow, yeah, that's amazing.
What it is.
Well, before we wrap this up, I just want to go over a couple more things real quick, man. So, let's talk about why you're here in Vegas right now, right? And, I have an appointment leaderboard, right, in the community. Yeah. You recently, in the last month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, came back into the community. I want to say about 2 months ago.
2 months, yeah.
And seeing everybody else have wins and take action, I think kind of helped light a little fire under you. Would it be fair to say that?
Absolutely.
Okay. And we reviewed your calls and we got you back up. So I know what's next for you, man. And I gave you this advice yesterday. And it's continuing to do what you're already doing, because obviously you're aligned and you're on the path. But this time you're just going to do it smarter and wiser. And you need to build your community. You need to build a course. You need to, keep stepping it up to where you can provide a whole nother level of fulfillment and value for your students. Yeah. That's going to allow you to serve more people. And you got to stay in the game long term when it comes to ads.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I have no doubt you're going to do that, especially, with the support that I provide. Dude, I'm so grateful to have you in my community with all of these students that have bet on themselves, invested in themselves. I'm so grateful for the community that I have. I get emotional, man. It's I truly feel like I'm so aligned. I'm living my purpose. I am living within the calling. And the more I lean into that, dude, I'm here to build online coaching businesses for leaders and legacy builders. Yeah. And not only am I changing lives, but my students are going to go change hundreds of thousands of lives over the next several years, because I'm not stopping. I'm not quitting.
Damn straight.
That's not even in my vocabulary.
Oh yeah.
And so the appointment leaderboard, you won this month. And I'm going to be doing this every month moving forward. I get first place. I'm going to fly them out to Vegas. We're going to hit Dragons Lair. We're going to get content. Shoot, we'll probably do a podcast just like me and you are doing, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm excited for other students in the program, because there's a few people that are just right there behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're coming for you.
Yeah.
Which is cool. That friendly in-house competition is. Yeah. But man, dude, thank you so much for like sharing your story, and being here, being present. And just being the fucking person that you are, dude, because the world needs more people like you, man.
They need people like us, brother.
And
you're definitely changing lives, and you're changing generations. Because this isn't just going to stop at me. I'm doing this so that my brother and his kids, my sister and her kids, that this whole family becomes a family of successful, wealthy, good people that will make their mark in the world however they choose. And that's because I ran ads with Anthony Bradley, and he helped me tie down my sales script, brother.
Let's go.
Yeah,
dude. I'm excited because I know this is just the start of our journey as brotherhood, and I already see the vision. It's already in my head. I already see it. I'm going to be doing masterminds, several of them throughout the year, and I know you're going to be able to be a part of those and do
unemployable,
unemployable. So, man, I can't thank you enough, brother. And
my pleasure, brother.
I look forward to what's to come, man, because
yeah.
I'm going to tell you this. All successful people believe two things. One is the best is yet to come.
Yeah.
And two is I have the power to make the future better than it is.
Damn straight.
And obviously, based on this whole hour-long podcast conversation that we had, we know that the best is yet to come.
Yeah.
And we have the power to make that happen.
Absolutely. Everybody does. Yeah. It really takes life squeezing us to show us that, specifically this situation in my life. But absolutely.
So here's what I'm going to say to wrap this up, guys. Don't be afraid to bet on yourself. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Don't be afraid to have the ball.
That's right.
Right? And thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Let's go. Let's grow. And we will see you on the next video.
Absolutely. Hell yeah, brother.